constantly criticizing your husband's decisions or telling him how wrong he is, it starts that downward spiral that leads to a bad place. But, well, here's a little caveat for the guys. Guys, for us, when our wives want to share something with us, they're not asking for a counseling session. They really just want us to listen, okay, most of the time. It's like every once in a while they'll ask for a response, but they really want us to listen and empathize with them. That's the challenge for us, though, because guys feel like we have to fix it, okay? If you got this problem, we're going to fix it right now so I can get back to the football game. But we're going to fix this thing, right? The next thing, as far as expressing respect, is relationship. Appreciate his desire. He talks about the shoulder-to-shoulder friendship. Here's the thing with guys. Guys like being with their wives, and you don't have to say anything. We can just sit there and not say anything. It was talking about a guy that took his wife, this is a true story, he took his wife deer hunting, and they were in the deer stand, for 5 hours, didn't say anything because, you can't talk when you're deer hunting. So they're in this deer stand for 5 hours, and after the 5 hours, they didn't shoot a deer or anything. They get out of the deer stand. The husband looks at the wife and says, "That was awesome." And the wife is thinking, I was ready to jump out of that thing in about 3 hours in, on my head. Just, I was in misery because, that's hard for women to do is to be silent because they feel like there's something that has to be said. But guys are okay with that. We're okay. I'm okay with that. I can sit around. I just like being with my wife, I don't have to say anything. In fact, we've been married 29 years. There's not a whole lot we could say that's not, that's novel or new. It's kind of like, well, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Whatever. So, but trust me, 29 years, you kind of know each other, right? In fact, you kind of know what each other is thinking and how they're going to respond, and sometimes you do stupid things anyway. But Titus says for the older women to help the young women to learn how to be friends or to love their husbands, or to be friends with their husbands. And then the next thing, as far as respect, this is kind of a big one for guys. Not kind of, it's huge. Sexuality. Appreciate his desire for sexual intimacy. And I know the sister's going to groan now, like he's always talking about sex. He's always going to dump on us, and our husbands are going to expect, all those things. But 1 Corinthians 7:15 does say, stop depriving one another so that Satan will not tempt you. Here's how Satan tempts men when there's not physical intimacy, when it's not genuine, and when you're just sort of, okay, let's get this over with because I got to go, take care of the kids or whatever. Then there's a feeling of disrespect there for the guys, right, guys? it's like if there's this connection, and that's where this temptation comes in from Satan. I think that when there's not a genuineness in the intimacy, maybe you're initiating sometimes, whatever it is, then guys can really feel a lack of respect, and that goes to a bad place again. You're stepping on the air hose, right? And again, my wife is, in fact, she told me last night, quit getting on the sisters for, not having enough sex with their husbands. Talk to the husbands about being... So she's representing for you, okay? All right, so the men need lots of respect, right, guys? And equal sex sometimes, okay? Just get that for, okay. I like this little story. I've got a story here. But along these lines, sister, it's not your job to keep your husband humble. Life will keep your husband humble. Just try to think of ways to respect him and express that to him. There's a story about a young couple that needed some more money to make ends meet. So the young guy decides to go into his boss and ask for a raise, and he's all scared about it. He's intimidated, and he's just overwhelmed by it. And so he goes to the office, and he comes home that evening, and she's prepared this very nice dinner, and she's got the candles out and so forth, and she just a fantastic, nice music and so forth. And on his plate there was a little card that says, "I'm so proud of you. I knew you could get the raise. You'd get the raise. You deserved it, and this dinner is just my little way of telling you how much I love and respect you." And so she kisses him on the forehead. And as she walked into the kitchen, another card fell out of her pocket. He picked it up, and it read, I'm so sorry you didn't get the raise. You really deserved it, but I'm still so proud of you, and the dinner is just my way to tell you how much I love and respect you. Now, that's a great wife. I mean, it really is, because it really is respecting her husband no matter what happens, no matter what he produces. That's what guys really need is, and I'm going to get to the guys in a second here, so hang on, sisters. Hang on. We'll get there. We're not out of time yet, are we? Okay, we're going to get there. But the guys need respect, okay? It's their air hose. If you want to see them breathe again, get off the disrespect air hose and, put some wind under their wings there. And to the guys, how to love your wife. John Eldredge, a popular Christian author, says, a woman doesn't want to be related to with formulas, and she certainly doesn't want to be treated like a project that has answers to it. She doesn't want to be solved. She wants to be known. And he just talks about how it just takes an investment of time, right, to get to know your wife, to love your wife. It requires incarnation, right, in terms of God with us, being with your spouse in that way. And like you ladies, sometimes the men are thinking, I don't feel like I love her. I've heard guys say, I just don't feel like I love her anymore. Again, it's not a question of feelings. It's an intention of actions, and really a lot of times your attitudes do follow your actions. And so the idea of loving your wife is intentional. And again, it's like the light in this room. The light right now, it's dispersed, so it's not. It doesn't. We can see, but it's not giving me a tan. It's not. It's not doing. It's not doing any damage. Not doing a whole lot of good. But when you put it into a laser, when you concentrate that light, it becomes very powerful. And that's what intentional love does. When you intentionally love your wife, you focus, you get specific, you think about specific compliments, you think about specific little gifts that she appreciates. Those are the kinds of things we're talking about. So he talks about the things that are important in terms of expressing love to your wife. Number one, she needs you to be close to her. Genesis 2:24 says, for this cause will a man leave his father and mother and be united to his wife. He says there's a leaving and a cleaving that is foundational in the Bible. As far as leaving your father and mother, that relationship was most important. Now it's not. God still expects us to respect our parents, but he says that your relationship with your wife is the most important relationship that you have. And that includes the kids. And I've seen so many families that the kids are obviously the most important relationship for the dad, the most important relationship for the mom, and it's a mess because the kids weren't created for that, and when that happens, their world gets messed up because they think the world revolves around them and they get all weird. These two relationships are messed up because you were created to love each other more than you love the kids, and so not good things happen. It's just not a good situation. So God says that we're to leave and cleave, and that our spouses are to be the most important relationship in our life. And so the important thing for us as men is to love our wives specifically and make the time. It takes time for this. But she needs to be close. She needs intentional bonding. There's an interesting little study they did that talking about this closeness, this bonding. They did a study on infants, little kids and little babies, and the research was to check out the difference between little boys and little girls. And they'd walk into these little tiny baby cribs and these little rooms, and what they were doing, they found out that every one of the little girls would look up and make eye contact. All little girls laying in cribs, when somebody walked in, they would look up and make eye contact. Now, and they'd smile and respond. Now the little boys, when they went in and looked in their cribs, every one of them looked up and made eye contact for a few seconds. And then they saw the fan and they got distracted. I'm sorry, but guys just don't pay attention as well as, I mean, this is like little kids, so, this is an experiment they did. It was pretty crazy, but guys just, we have a hard time, you can tell because we got this going, we're multitasking, and we're multitasking even when we're not multitasking, so. But one guy says that, to get close to his wife, he holds her hands everywhere they go. Then he adds, that's so she can't buy anything. She can't, get her. Okay, the second thing that expresses love to your wife is openness. She wants you to be open up. She wants you to open up to her, not to be secretly mad at her. Colossians 3:19 says, "Husbands, love your wives, and do not become embittered against them." And so, wives want to talk about marriage problems, right? Guys really don't. We're like, you say we need to have that talk or a talk. It's like the guys are looking for a reverse, like, hey, I got to get out of here, But the wife, and it's not that there's a lot of problems. It's just that it seems like, and this is my wife, and maybe most of you wives here, but it seems like they just want to know that you're aware of things and that you're tuned in. And it's not that this is a huge problem, but let's just talk about this and let's just kind of get it out there. There's this openness that's desired about whatever's going on in the relationship. The next thing for expressing love to your wife is understanding. And again, we said this, but don't fix her. Your job is not to fix her, okay? 1 Peter 3:7 says, "Husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way." And so what she wants, again, is for you to just listen. Don't get into it. Because I do this all the time with my wife. I mean, when she wants to share something about the kids or some situation at work, I'm like, okay, we'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. That's not what she's looking for. A lot of times, what my wife wants is just a hug. She just wants to know that, hey, I'm there for her, and I really want, I'm on her side, basically. The next one is peacemaking. She wants you to say, "I'm sorry." Matthew 19:5-6, Jesus quotes an Old Testament scripture in Genesis where it says, "What God has joined together, let no man separate." And that no man can be the husband. Don't separate what God has joined together. And a lot of times that separation comes from anger that's kind of stuffed down. I mentioned this last week that a lot of times we've got this anger issue from over here or way back there 10 years ago, and we've sort of carried along, and then it comes out over here. So we've got to deal with those little anger issues. But it also just means get off her air hose, talk about any problems that need to be resolved, get those resolved, and move on with your relationship. Next one, as far as expressing love to your wife, is loyalty. Loyalty. It's not, I've been married 29 years, and one of the reasons I've been married, not the reason, but one of the reasons I've been married for 29 years, we've been married 29 years, is that divorce is just not an option for us. It's never been an option. It's not something that we're going to discuss. It's not a direction we're going to go in. It is not an option. We're not going to get a divorce. We might kill each other, but we're not going to get a divorce, okay? And that, but that's right. Yeah, something bad might be. But and what that does is it brings a lot of stability to your kids, and it brings a lot of stability to your relationship because it's basically, hey, we're going to work this out. We're going to fix this. And one of the things that I'd encourage you to do, I mentioned this earlier, but if you can't resolve a really, a big bump, we call them bumps, we don't call them fights. If you can't resolve a bump, in an appropriate amount of time, get some outside help. Call a brother or sister just to help you out with it. Don't go to bed, one night, 2 nights, whatever, without getting someone else involved in it. Here's what happens with me when I've got that, and we've had that position.